We are on 140, 100. We'll start with that thing again. We'll quickly run through that sentence and proceed. I curved the vacant ether into space, a huge expanding and contracting breadth harbored the fires of the universe. I struck out the supreme original spark and spread its sparse-ranked armies through the inane, manufactured the stars from the occult radiances, marshaled the platoons of the invisible dawn. I formed Earth's beauty out of atom and gas, and built from etheric plasm the living man. So he is quickly tracing the entire course of evolution up to the arrival of man. He starts from nothing, and then using the Sankhya principle of materialization, of material creation, he is arriving at the stage of man, which means that man is a product of matter. He is a product of matter. There is nothing like any higher being entering into matter and giving rise to, in the evolutionary stage, the species we call man, the mental being. Now, we have got a very significant phrase right in the first line. I curved vacant ether into space. Vacant ether. Now, what is that vacant ether? Ether, of course, stands for Akash. It is out of Akash that I produced space. What is that vacant ether? He is asserting that after all, this whole process started with nothing. The whole thing started out of void, empty, vacant. That itself is the ether, as if the void is first producing. The first formation of the void in its creation is the ether. And then start coming other elements. Akash, Vayu, Tejas, Apas, and Prithvi. So vacant ether is an assertion of death, assertion by death, that the whole creation here has come out of nothing, out of the void. He is not saying that somebody else brought it down here. No, there was nothing here. And it is I who brought it out of nothing, all these things you see. So, who is man after all then? He is the product of this nothing. Through all the stages it has come to the position of nothing. And with the arrival of man, he is tracing very rapidly. Then thought came in and spoiled the harmonious world. Until before the arrival of man, everything was in order. Everything was in perfect place. Life was enjoying life. Matter was happy with its forms and beauty and whatever to call it. But the moment man came, then he started playing mischief. It is he who has created all these problems. It is he, mind, who has created this disharmony, spoiled the harmonious world. Now, of course, for him, that harmonious world is a kind of a world of status quo. Let it remain as it is, and we are happy. You see, status quo. There is no further progress. But man comes and spoils it. That spoiling, in a positive sense, means that you are removing, you are knocking off the status quo and trying to go forward. That he is not admitting. The purpose of mind is to remove the status quo and make progress. That he is not admitting. But he says whatever harmony was there, that got spoiled because of the arrival of man, because of this thought. Then thought came in and spoiled the harmonious world. Matter began to hope and think and feel, tissue and nerve, both joy and agony. Before that, there was no question of joy or agony. It was as it is, that's all. The inconscient cosmos strove to learn its task. Cosmos strove to learn its task. Strove, because mind is struggling. It is trying to understand. And what is the task? What it is for? What is the purpose behind all these things? The inconscient cosmos strove to learn its task, what it is supposed to do. That started haunting man. With the arrival of man, all these things started happening. The inconscient cosmos strove to learn its task. An ignorant personal God was born in mind. See, he is telling very correctly all those things. First, you have nothing but the void. Then comes inconscience. Then comes ignorance. So ignorance is really a great advance in the field of the beginning of creation, at the beginning of creation. Out of inconscious ignorance is the reason. It means that you have really made tremendous progress. You really made, there was nothing, matter came. It is a progress in a way. Matter came, life came, man came, ignorance came. So these are actually stages of progress out of the void, you see. So we should not feel sorry that we are ignorant people. No, we are not ignorant. We have really made great progress in this creation. Out of nothing, you see. Our knowledge may be half knowledge, maybe partial knowledge, maybe incomplete knowledge, but that is there now, which was totally absent until now. The inconscient cosmos strove to learn its task. An ignorant personal God was born in mind. So personal God, you see, it's not a question of universe, because it is I who project God. It is a kind of an anthropomorphism. The God of man is like a man. The God of an elephant is like an elephant. The God of a tiger is like a tiger, you see. You project your own personality and call it God, you see. A personal God, therefore is a personal God, you see, was born in mind. So actually, therefore, according to him, there is nothing like God. It is the creation of your mind. And to understand, invented reason's law. So you have created God, all right. And now you want to understand God, what He is. So you start rationalizing, you start producing logic, arguments and all that thing. He must be like this, he must be like that, etc., etc. And to understand invented reason's law. To understand invented reason's law. In other words, you build up philosophies, you build up theologies. This is God, this is God, this is God, this is not God, this is not God, etc. And to understand invented reason's law, the impersonal vast throbbed back to man's desire. A trouble rocked the great world's blind, still heart, and nature lost her wide, immortal calm. So, kind of a calm which was there on nature before the arrival of man. Trees are there, mountains are there, rivers are there, animals are there, everything is there, but they are kind of static. But that thing is now lost with the arrival of man. Nature lost her wide, immortal calm. Thus came this warped, incomprehensible scene. So actually, the problem, the puzzle is with man, with his mind. It has become incomprehensible. He wants to understand with mind, he cannot understand with mind. It becomes incomprehensible. He has created in reason, he has invented logic, theories and whatnot. Still, he can't grasp what that really is. Thus came this warped, incomprehensible scene of souls enmeshed in life's delight and pain, and matter sleep and matter's mortality, of being in nature's prison, waiting death, and consciousness left in seeking ignorance. So that is what happened. You are left now, your consciousness, whatever awareness you have got, that is seeking. It is an ignorance which is moving forward, seeking. Trying to understand, ignorance is trying to understand what ignorance is. In a way, that itself is a progress. Yeah, that itself is a progress. Ignorance is trying to understand what ignorance is, you see. And consciousness left in seeking ignorance. This is the world in which thou movest. So, madam, this is the creation. This is how it has happened. And you are living in this world and you are dreaming of this and that and whatnot. You are betraying yourself. You are not following the logic of things at all, you see. This is the world in which thou movest astray in the tangled pathways of the human mind. Tangled pathways of the human mind. Well, this is a perfect description of the conflicting theories we keep on producing ages after ages. Is it Dvaita? Is it Advaita? Is it Vishishtadvaita? All kind of philosophies are thrown out like that. And each one has a truth. Dvaita, the duality, has a truth in it. The non-duality has a truth also in it. A specialized kind of duality, Vishishtadvaita, Vishishta, specific. That is also true, that God is different than creation. No, God and creation are the same. No, they are totally different. It is God who has created in a certain manner this creation. So this keep on arguing like that endlessly, and there is no resolution of argument at all possible. Impossible. So, tangled pathways of the human mind. For centuries people have been quarreling. Ramanujam, Shankaracharya, all these great acharyas of the Middle Ages of India, they had built up their own theories and their own philosophy based on certain type of spiritual realizations. There is no doubt that they have got spiritual realizations, but they were exclusive. They were not able to really comprehend and put them all together, you see. Therefore, each one is trying to understand, explain, rationalize the earlier scriptures. Vishishtadvaita will interpret Gita in his own manner. Dvaita will interpret the Gita in his own manner. Advaita will interpret the Gita again in his own manner. So that is how it keeps on going on, you see. Means intellect is at its full play. This is the world in which thou movest astray the tangled pathways of the human mind. So Death is telling correctly what he says. This is not wrong, you see, because you are trapped in that thing. In the issueless circling of thy human life, searching for thy soul and thinking God is here. You think that God is here because after all you are a mental creature. Thought is your best faculty. So you think that God is here, but where is God? Everything has come up from me. From the void, first came the ether, then came all those elements, etc., etc. Then came man, then came his thought, then came all these philosophies. Where is God then? You don't need God. This is exactly the kind of an argument which Stephen Hawking has been proposing, you see, all along. I don't need God. I don't need God, he says. But he has no business to say whether God is there or whether he needs God or not, because it is not really in the domain of his physical formulation. You base your theories of physics on certain principles. It does not come at all there anywhere at all. If physics is based on the principle of empirical rationalism, that on the basis of observation you build up your thought structure, then you are making certain progress. But here there is no question of observation at all, there is no question of empiricism at all. Then how can you even talk of whether God exists or not? It is not in your domain. You have no business to say whether He exists or not. You have really no business to say it, because it does not really come in the compass of the physical formulation. You see. Searching for thy soul and thinking. So that is the materialist argument which is put very strongly, and death is kind of highlighting it, giving his own version of that thing, you see. But there is room for soul or place for God in the brute immensity of a machine. This is exactly what Stephen Hawking is saying. A brief history of time, if you read his brief history of time, this is exactly what he is saying. Brief history of time was written maybe 30 years ago, but Shreben wrote this thing in 1945, you see. In 1945, 46, you see. Long before the arrival of Stephen Hawking. This is the world in which thou movest astray in the tangled pathways of the human mind, in the issueless circling of thy human life, searching for thy soul and thinking God is here. But where is room for soul or place for God in the brute immensity of a machine? So he is really putting the argument of the materialist very strongly.